right, so I'm in the ticket window line of the Przemysl Główny station, and apparently I don't see tickets directly for Krakow, but then I saw on the departures board that if you buy a ticket towards Berlin, it goes through Krakow, and I didn't know that. Like when I was in Berlin, I didn't know that you could go all the way to the border with Ukraine from the Berlin Hauptbahnhof when I began this journey. So I'm gonna see if I can get a ticket to Krakow. I kind of wouldn't mind actually going back to Berlin, but I don't have the energy for that. Especially I haven't slept in the last like 24 hours. So see what I can do here. Okay, good news. There was a lady with a little table off to the side who had an Apple Pay set up, and I actually just really set up Apple Pay in earnest. So I actually got a ticket to, not that you can read it because there's the ink on her little ticket machine was worn out, but basically I got a ticket to Kraków Główny, which is the station that I came into from Berlin. Sorry, I'm really distracted walking through the station. And so not Kraków Plażów, which is where I started the journey to Lviv. So this is pretty awesome, actually. But she said it's standing room only. And it's like a 3.5 hour journey or something. So yeah, and I'm extremely tired, so there'll be no way to sleep. She said I have to stand the whole way, and she said it's going to be probably hot and uncomfortable. But this is just one of those things to just get through, I guess. A lot of corn out here. That ended up being an absolutely amazing train ride. I went from having no seat to a woman from Bucha, where there was the infamous massacre by the Russian military against Ukrainian civilians south of Kyiv. She started speaking to me in German. I don't know why people just think I speak German. I think German is kind of a lingua franca in this whole region between, I guess, like I think, you know, a lot of Poles and Ukrainians, I think, learn German in school as a second language. So yeah, I ended up having this conversation between her and this Polish guy named Gregor, and between the three of us we were using all these different languages like Deutsch, English, Ukrainsky, Polski. Yeah, it was wild. And at the end I got to just pause for a second because this was very sad, but she showed me that her house was basically wrecked by Russian artillery, and it shattered, like it cracked all the walls of her home like just outside Bucha, and now she's living as a refugee in Germany. So the train I was on was going all the way to Berlin. That was Berlin Hauptbahnhof was its last stop, and that's where she was going because she has refugee status in Germany. So it was. Yeah, it was a very heartfelt train ride and a very interesting conversation. So she was on the platform just taking a breather when I got off the train, and I was like Dankeschön, Fräulein, und ciao, and then she, like, I said Slava Ukraini, and I also said Dziękuję, which is thank you. It's like Dankeschön in Ukrainian, and she said Slava Ukraini, and I was like Slava Ukraini, meaning glory to Ukraine. It was really, really just like touching interaction. So I forgot to give context. I'm here at Kraków Główny, Krakow's main train station, and I'm looking for somewhere to sit down so I can leech off the Wi-Fi and decide what my next step is. And there's like no public seating in this place. There are no like benches. And when I was here last time, or there's one bench there, but people are using it. And when I was here last time, I got like reprimanded by a security guard for sitting on the floor. There's nowhere else to sit. But there is, if I remember last time, there is free Wi-Fi from this McDonald's. So I'm going to try and figure out where I'm going to go. Either jump on a plane, maybe get a train to the airport, or I could just go back to Kraków Old Town. I'm really not sure. I'm sitting waiting for the train in Krakow to the airport, and I'm going to fly to Munich and then to Athens. I'm just going to go to Greece for a few days before going back to New York, and I couldn't get flights to any of the islands, so I'm just going to fly to Athens, and I'm just totally winging it. And at this point, I think I've been awake for about 24 hours, so it's definitely having a hard time making decisions. But I'm just reflecting, like, I'm thinking about being here in Krakow or Krakow, and like how healthy this society appears. Like, it's like a beautiful summer day. The main train station's totally bustling. And then I'm just thinking about leaving Lviv in the middle of the night, like leaving my hotel at 1 a.m. and the whole town going dark, and there being no taxis to the railway station while I made that extremely long walk. It's just it's a really weird feeling. And it's like how there's a sort of a line in the sand, a Westphalian line of a nation state in terms of political geography that divides eastern Poland and western Ukraine, and that Russia is not, as best as it can, it's not straying into Polish airspace, i.e. NATO airspace. And it's funny how just that kind of invisible curtain in the sky and on the ground keeps one society safe and leaves another society completely vulnerable. So it's a strange thing to think about. It's just weird to have made that transition. Okay, I am getting on the train to the Krakow airport. What a wild ride this is. Exhausting, but kind of still exhilarating. If only I guess I can just grab a seat. So this is, the train to the airport is much more like a local train than anything like the intercity trains that I've been riding back and forth to Przemysl. And I don't know how long it's going to take to get to the airport, but hopefully I've got plenty of time. It's, I mean, because it's an intra-EU flight, so it's like, which is like the equivalent of a domestic flight within the United States, so I think you only need to be there like an hour ahead of time, so I should be totally okay. Okay, we have arrived at the Krakow Airport train station. The ride from the central railway station was 17 minutes, and it was 17 zloty. So it was 1 zloty per minute, basically. And so it was less than $4.50 for the train all the way from Krakow city center to the airport. So now I gotta go find the Lufthansa counter inside the airport and figure out where I'm supposed to be and all that kind of stuff. I've noticed that there are several passengers that were all the way at the beginning of this journey from the Lviv railway station. Because if you think about it, this Krakow airport is the closest international functioning airport to Ukraine, because since the start of the war on 24 February 2022, I think all of Ukraine's airports have been offline. Okay, I'm all set, checked in. I kind of screwed up. I had to pay a lot extra for my bag because I was kind of on an adrenaline rush, and I'm extremely tired. And when I was buying the ticket on the Wi-Fi at the railway station, I didn't opt to buy the bag. I just blazed through the Lufthansa website so fast. And I hadn't flown Lufthansa in so long. They used to never charge for bags, but my references are wildly outdated. So now I have to go through security and head to the gate. Is, for some strange reason, a painfully slow process. We've been trying to board for like over 30 minutes. I don't know why this is taking so long, but we'll be on our way soon enough. It's going to be a pretty short flight, I think. It's probably like an hour or something. Okay, touchdown in Munich. Still a couple of stages to go. Crazy that it's this hot in Germany. I don't associate Germany with hot, but it's hot everywhere. It's a hot summer. most packed airport bus I've ever been on in my life, and I'm talking about like being in buses in major airports all over the world in super densely populated cities. Wow. It's really, really awkward and uncomfortable. So I'm laying on the floor of this weird, some sort of greenwashing thing at the Munich airport. And I don't even know how long. I think I've been awake for like 36 hours. I can't even keep track. But I'm just laying here waiting for the flight to Athens. Finally, I have to board the flight to Athens. Jesus, I've been sitting in this airport for like 5 hours. Okay, so I've just landed in Athens, got my bag. I was hoping to make a flight to Santorini. There was like an 11:30 flight, but it's literally like 11:25 by the time I got my bag, and we were late leaving Munich. So now I'm debating what to do. I could get a last bus to Piraeus, the port, and maybe wait all night for the ferry or something? I don't know. I gotta figure it out. I'm so tired, it's hard to make clear-cut decisions. So I've just taken the bus from the Athens airport to the port of Piraeus in the south of the Attica region that Athens is in, and I'm going to get a ticket, I think, to Thera, or as it's way more commonly known, Santorini, to maybe go visit a friend. So, yeah, this has turned into quite the odyssey to go from Ukraine all the way to the Kykladas Islands here in Greece. But, yeah, I think we're just about at the port. The last bunch of times, I haven't been to Santorini since before the pandemic, but the last bunch of times I've flown there. So this is, I think, the first while that I've actually taken the ferry old school style. And I'm debating whether I should just stay awake in the port all night or maybe stay in some crappy hotel. I don't know. I'm exhausted. I think the first order of business is to usually just go get the ferry ticket and then figure everything else out. And I think we are almost to the port. Let's see. Oh yeah, I recognize there's a, can't see it from here, but there's a church there. I've actually slept on those stairs before in years past. Well, waiting. I think the ferries usually leave at like 7:15 or 7:30 a.m. And right now it's like 1:15. So I think we are. Yep. And out here, probably can't see it in the GoPro, but the ferries are over here. All right. We have just arrived in seedy, humid, filthy Piraeus, which is actually a separate city from Athens. I think it's technically a suburb. Looks like maybe they've tried to wash the street here, I don't know, but yeah, this is a nasty little part of the Athens metro area, but it's also kind of a classic place too. A lot of memories here from when I was a university student, and I would come here and wait all night for these boats, which is maybe what I'm gonna do tonight. Like, this area was just always known for like rats and pickpockets and just sketchy stuff in general, and just being really filthy. I haven't been here in a good while. I'm actually trying to remember where the all-night ferry ticket offices are. There's usually like, there's a little area where there's a cluster of like 24-hour cafes where you can basically just like order some French fries or chips, if you prefer to call them, and just kind of like sit outside all night. But here is a hulking, gigantic Blue Star ferry, which is the primary company that goes to the Cyclades. So I'm trying to remember, definitely in the right area. Just the scale of that ferry is ginormous. I think, if memory serves, I think the ticket offices are somewhere. I think I'm actually going in vaguely the right direction. Boy, it's amazing how little this place has changed. I've been coming here since I was a university student in the 1990s, and it's like, you know, except for the fact that there's like maybe Wi-Fi at a cafe, or you could maybe use a tap card to pay for a ferry ticket. It's just incredible how little this place has evolved. It's just sort of as dirty and desolate as it's ever been. Now let's see. This kiosk actually looks kind of familiar. Let's see, is this? No. I was thinking that the all-night ticket offices are somewhere around here. Let's see. Whatever all this stuff is closed. Okay, back to square one. Well, I'm officially a little discombobulated now. I was talking to this guy just hanging out here, and he said that post-COVID, the port, like all the stuff isn't 24 hours anymore, obviously, as everything I walked by was closed. And he said all the businesses that used to be open all night selling food and ferry tickets to weary travelers, he said they're all closed from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. And I'm like, but some of the boats leave before 8 a.m. And he goes, well, yeah. He goes, you have to buy it on the internet. He goes, just buy it on your phone. I'm like, no, I literally just flew here from Germany. I don't have a Greek SIM card. Like, there isn't. And the irony is the businesses are closed to use the Wi-Fi to buy something on my phone. I would have bought it. If I had known that, I would have bought a ferry ticket online at the, I guess, from the airport Wi-Fi. So now I don't know what the hell to do. I'm gonna keep walking around and see if I find some ferry ticket office that is open, or at least find where the schedule is for the boats. Okay, so a taxi driver that I spoke with in what Hellenica or Greek I could muster said that this is the boat that I would need, and it leaves, as I remember, the time hasn't changed, it leaves at 7:25 a.m. I knew it was something like that. And it goes to Paros and Naxos and Santorini. But yeah, but it's like, it is a total no man's land at night down here. It's kind of spooky, actually. I don't know what to do. Maybe get some food and hang out for, I mean, it doesn't leave for 6 hours. So, as I've said repeatedly ad nauseum, which is redundant, but I'm so damn tired. Coming all the way from Lviv. Oh boy. I'm sitting on the gorgeous, super clean, and importantly for summer, nice and cool white marbled steps at the Orthodox church or cathedral here in Piraeus. And yeah, the game has definitely done changed since the pandemic. It seems like the COVID lockdown must have eradicated whatever business vibe there used to always be here, and it's really sad, actually. Like those shoddy like cafes and ticket offices that used to be open 24 hours, I'm like reflecting, like back in the day you would meet people there. Like you would meet Australians, Englishmen, Swedes, Norwegians, Irishmen, whoever. You'd meet all kinds of people, and everyone was on the same vibe. Like if everyone was like, anyone who was there was someone who wasn't trying to stay in a hotel and like catch the early morning ferry to the Cyclades. And yeah, I'm kind of bummed that it's over, I guess. And if I had you know, if I had caught that last flight on Aegean Airlines to Santorini, I actually wouldn't have known that this vibe like ended down here. And but this isn't my first time at the rodeo, i.e. sitting at this church. They've got crazy like floodlights here now. It never used to be this bright. I'm wondering if it's like to deter crime or something, or maybe to deter like people tagging or graffiti, who knows, vandalism, I don't know. So the ferry leaves in a little over 5 hours, and I feel like I'm just gonna ride it out. And I'm thinking that, you know, maybe a ferry, there'll be at least some ferry ticket office that'll open. There has to be. I don't believe the guy who said, oh, they don't open till 8 a.m. There's got to be someone, I mean, because if the boat leaves at 7:25, there's got to be somebody selling tickets before then. So for now, I am just going to basically hang out and sit here. I was thinking like I could read a book, but my eyes hurt too much from being so tired coming all the way from Ukraine. So I am just kicking it right now. By the grace of God, I found a bakery, which is apparently the only thing open here at the port. So I just got some food in there I can keep an eye on the boat. Oh, I'm so happy. So happy. There's nothing I love in life like a Greek bakery, especially one that's 24 hours. So I'm just so glad I found this. And there's AC inside, so you can kind of cool off while you're standing here. So I got two different, what are known as koulouri, these rings. This is like a whole grain with seeds and sesame. You may recognize, if you've ever been to Turkey, they call them simits. And actually in Krakow, they actually sold koulouri. I don't know, I'm sure they had a name for them. And then I got of course, because I'm here in Greece, I got a spinach pie, a spanakopita, and just a basic seltzer. And I'm gonna sit here for a good while and just kind of chill. And just like that, the port is suddenly completely alive and bustling. I've been sleeping on these benches for the past like over 3 hours. And when I first got here, I was the only person on any of the benches. And now, voila, the dormant ferry ticket offices are all open, lit up, and there's tons of people getting on the Blue Star Delos ferry. So let's go get a ticket and get on this damn boat. At long last, got a ticket. Crazy, like there was, I've been here the entire night, and now all of a sudden there's this like frenetic energy. Kalimera. This long ordeal is almost over. So that's the bakery there where I had stuff earlier, and there's actually another one over there. So if you're here in Piraeus overnight, those are the only game in town in terms of food. Yeah, you can see the sunrise is happening now, and still got about 35 minutes or so before the boat takes off. But yeah, it's crazy to see how dynamic the port has gotten. You know, one thing that's interesting more about taking the ferry than flying to any of the islands is that you kind of can understand somewhat how Greece's economy works a little bit in a very crude sort of observational sense, because these car and truck ferries, which double as passenger ferries, they're what bring all the manufactured goods to the islands. So anything that isn't basically grown or, you know, fermented on the islands is brought here from the mainland. So in that sense, you know, riding these old school ferries is kind of cool. Yeah, so I've got just a random unassigned seat on an outdoor table. And before I forget to mention, the general ticket was 58 euros. And yeah, I didn't ask how long it's gonna be, because I probably should remember that. That might be my male pride. But yeah, anyway, I'm just gonna hang out here for a while. And just like that, we pull away from Attica on the Greek mainland, where Athens and Piraeus are located, which is essentially the end of the Balkan Peninsula. And we are set sail to the Cyclades, or Cyclades, and specifically to Santorini. And hopefully I'm going to meet my friend Costa, who's an irreverent tour guide on the island, and just chill there for a couple of days before eventually heading back to reality in New York City. Okay, boat is running about 20 minutes late. Finally pulling into the port. I am the first person going down the stairs. I've been standing with my super heavy bags for like 30 minutes or something. Ostensibly first off the boat. Now I'll have to get a bus up to Fira. Get on the bus here. Well, that was a little adrenaline rush. So the bus is €2.50. It took us, it seemed like 40 minutes to get out of the port and up to Fira, or up to the main road. And some other passengers were getting off here in the village of Carterados, which is where I am right now. And I just got a rush and I ran up to the driver because the other people who were getting off didn't have luggage underneath. And I asked him, I said, I said, I'm sorry, but can I also get out here and grab my bag from the belly of the bus? And he was a little grumpy, but he was cool with it. So now I am walking towards where I hope I can stay for a few nights. Again, as I mentioned, I haven't booked a room. I just wanted to make sure I was gonna get here with how crazy this whole journey's been, starting in Western Ukraine. So I'm gonna see, just gonna turn up and see what's what. And if I can't get into where I'm hoping to stay, I also have a couple of backup ideas. So every time I've come to Santorini, I've stayed here in this village. And what I love about it, as you can probably tell by the footage, is it's fairly secluded. It's not near any tourist attraction. I mean, you can walk to Fira from here if you want to go out at night or what have you. But yeah, part of what keeps it, or has kept it at least reasonably affordable, is because it is not near any of the action, and it's not near any of the main beaches either. So let's hope this works out. I'm almost to where I'm hoping to stay. Well, this mission ended up completely working out without using booking.com or anything of the sort. I just showed up to this spot right here. It's called Mersini Pension in Carterados, and it's run just by a local family, and it's a great deal. I got a room for 50 euros a night for 4 nights, and it's still technically high season. And if you know Santorini, that's an insane deal. There's places in this neighborhood that are like twice as much. Like there's a place around the corner where I normally stay that right now it's like 90 euros a night. And I mean, yeah, they have a swimming pool and stuff. This is very minimal. It's total no frills, and it's awesome. It's exactly what I needed.